Recently in our county, there's been an outbreak of pertussis, or what we call whooping cough. In order to understand what exactly pertussis is, we need to know what it is in order to be able to treat it appropriately. Pertussis is also known as whooping cough. It's a highly contagious respiratory tract infection. It's caused by a bacteria named Bordetella pertussis. It mainly affects children that are too young to complete the full course of vaccinations. It can also affect teenagers and adults who their immune systems are not strong enough to fight the infection. Some signs and symptoms to look out for when figuring out how invasive the pertussis is. Mild symptoms include a ruddy nose, nasal congestion, red, watery eyes, a fever, cough. However, it's very important to know when it's time to see your primary care doctor. When the coughing starts to provoke vomiting, when your skin turns red or blue, depending on how hard the coughing is, when you're struggling to breathe or you have to take pauses while you're breathing, or when you inhale with a whooping sound. For some of the patients that were admitted, some of them were infants. And with that, depending on how deep it is, there will start to have complications. Complications include pneumonia, slowed or stopped breathing, dehydration, weight loss due to feeding difficulties. They're not able to breastfeed from mom. Some can even have seizures and even brain damage if it is that deep. When we had the whooping cough outbreak, upon activation, we started the action plan. We made sure that we communicated through the executives in each part of their staff about how exactly the infection is severe. Once we notified our staff, we made it clear to notify the community, whether it was by phone, mail, putting an article out in the next day's newspaper. We also wanted to be sure that they knew, and we sent flyers home with their children so that they would, be able to tell mom and dad. We prepared the areas that we were going to use for the infected patients. We completely blocked off an area in the hospital that was just for infected patients. We also requested additional help from partnerships that we have, whether it's like McKesson or companies that we order our supplies from in order to get what was needed. Not only did we focus on the patients, we also focused on the medical staff and their help in this process. We chose a set of staff members that were the only staff members that took care of the infected patients. We did that only to be able to not infect other patients in the hospital. We didn't want people, we wanted the same people each time. We didn't want different people taking care of the patients. We did be sure that an executive officer was present during each shift to provide guidance between the emergency room and all floors of the facility. When this outbreak was over, we did be sure to treat all of the staff that was treating the infected patients. That was a priority to us. We also made sure of the financial plan. We did review the annual budget, and it was evaluated to be able to find any available funding for the resources that we would need. We did request additional funding. we contacted the mayor and the governor of the state, and they were able to grant us some funding. The funding was mainly used for the medications, like the antibiotics, IV antibiotics, for the infected patients. And we also did for the vaccines that we could administer throughout the county. We did, in addition to the medications and the vaccines, we used that funding to order resources and supplies and have them shipped overnight. One thing that we did consider when it came to this action plan were the outside things other than the infection itself, and that dealt with the ethical considerations. We needed to think of the patient, what they want, if it's something that, whether it's a religious or a personal view or whatever, we wanted to be sure that our staff, respected that. We also wanted to be sure that there was no burnout across the staff. We didn't want them to become fatigued or, be able to not do their job appropriately. We also used the resources of the community. This was a big help for us. It wasn't just the hospital itself. The community reached out to be able to help us and to provide vaccinations for the kids that had not had theirs yet. When the outbreak percentage was below 10% for the county, we deactivated the action plan. Upon that staff was cared and treated. They were sent home. We did take care of staffing for the following days while they recovered to be able to start on their next shifts. The infected areas, they were terminally cleaned, and they were cleaned head to toe. Each piece of supplies, everything was decontaminated. We took care of everything. Once everything was back to normal, we resumed normal operation hours. Once this was all said and done, the executive officers, board of directors, we all sat down to evaluate this action plan and looked at what we needed to change, what we could have done better. We considered outbreak disease funding to be evaluated, to be included in the annual budget. We also included the staff because their input is what's important too. They were first in line to see all of this with the patients themselves. We also evaluated other disease action plans that we have to see if there's anything that we can do better for those if they were to happen. We did decide that there were some processes that needed work. We need to designate physicians for admissions in that infected area that we close off and in the emergency room, so that there is one doctor taking care of those patients and that's it. There's no, this doctor taking care of this one taking care of this patient. They all are taken care of by one person. We also looked at the total time that was spent between the positive infection result and the antibiotics that were given to the patient in the emergency room or once they were admitted. Because this makes a difference as to the infection spreading to the rest of the body. We also thought about the time that was taken to notify the community. The community is who is affected the most. We want them to know what exactly is going on, whether, we let them know by their kids, phone calls, going door to door. We want them to know what's exactly going on. And then the initial preparation. This plan could have been done better. So we, the board of directors, made sure that this was detailed enough. One thing that we can advocate for this not to happen again is prevention itself. The Pertussis vaccine needs to be given to infants at 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, 15 to 18 months, and between 4 to 6 years old. Um, we also recommend that they get booster shots when they are an adolescent, or if they're an adult or a pregnant woman. Those who are around whooping cough or feel as if they could be infected by someone around them, they want to, strengthen themselves, can take preventative antibiotics. Um, it's best given to protect against infection if you are a physician, if you are pregnant, if you're younger than 12 months of age, or it's best if you have a weakened immune system. So these were some of the things that we figured out with the action plan that worked best, and for us to kind of get an understanding of what exactly pertussis is and how it can affect in a big way. It may sound like something little, but it can move mountains.